So I'm here with Patrick, CEO of fifthwall portfolio company, EV Realty. So what is EV Realty?
Sure. So EV Realty is focused on developing large multi-fleet charging hubs for commercial trucks. Our approach really starts with power. It starts with sort of recognition that the grid today was never designed as the fuel system for vehicles. It was never designed to fuel up to 300 million vehicles. And so finding those locations that have power today and the significant amount of power that large commercial fleets require has really been the thesis and the foundation of how we started.
As it relates to your business in particular, do you conceptualize yourself as a real estate company, a tech company, or an energy company? How do you see yourself?
Right now, the answer is really all three. First, we use technology. We've built a proprietary set of software tools that really is our eye in the sky. So we're not driving around in concentric circles in warehouse districts looking for vacant land with power. We're using large amounts of data and customer data to really figure out where we want to go. So in that sense, we're a technology company. We're a real estate company in that the properties that we're developing are infill, high-value logistics and warehouse type locations. So think of locations in the Inland Empire of Southern California, along the I-95 corridor in New Jersey. These are valuable industrial properties. And then we're an infrastructure company because we're building significant amounts of charging on top of the real estate and then operating that under an energy services model. When you think about the order, it's really been software first, real estate second, and eventually this will be an infrastructure company. But today, this is a real estate-led strategy. It needs to be a real estate-led strategy in order to find and develop those properties and really to secure the power that's needed to fuel the tenants that are going to come onto these properties.
I think people understand today that electric vehicles are going to become ubiquitous, but most of the focus seems to be on the consumer charging, right? So charging in your garage. But fleet charging is a massive problem and massive opportunity. Can you just paint some of the picture and the data around that?
Sure. There's a few ways to look at it. I think the first is I'm often asked, why focused on fleet charging versus passenger vehicle charging? And for EV Realty, I think one of the things that was really clear early on is fleets have known and predictable patterns. Not all fleets, but certainly the fleet customers that we're working with. A vehicle leaves a facility in the morning, it travels along a known route, travels a certain amount per day, it has certain shift changes. And so when you think about creating charging solutions, your customer use case is more known versus the somewhat more sort of ad hoc behavior of passenger vehicle charging. I think the other thing that's really sort of important about fleets is that the amount of power relative to the number of vehicles on the road, the amount of fuel, the amount of emissions that come from the medium and heavy duty sector dwarfs that of passenger vehicles on a sort of a ratable basis. I wanted to tackle a problem where you could start to move the needle pretty quickly. You take a customer working with in Southern California, they have 200 Class 8 trucks on a single location. That single location where those trucks to all be electric would first of all avoid hundreds of thousands of tons of CO2 emissions, but also requires 10 megawatts worth of power, 10 megawatts worth of fuel. And that's a really tangible problem from both a real estate and an infrastructure development perspective.
So tell me about the last year.
Yeah, so it's been exciting. Depending upon how you count time, we are either a 2-year-old company or, as I like to count it now, from when we were funded, we're about 18 months old. And despite being only 18 months into our journey as a funded startup, we've had a great year. First of all, we've tripled in size from a team perspective and really brought on a set of folks who understand this is not just an energy infrastructure or real estate play. You have to understand fleets, you have to understand the utility, you have to understand the product. Really built a great team around that. And then most importantly, and I touched on it, the software that we built, which initially I referred to as sort of our greedy developer tool. It was our way of figuring out how to find sites using data before we went out and started the due diligence. It has been really awesome to see what that software tool can do, to the point where just in the last year, I have had a load-serving entity in California, multiple customers, and one of the largest real estate owners in the country asked to license our tool, which is pretty cool. And that's not even something that we'd envisioned as a potential business opportunity.
That's really your alpha in identifying sites. That's your real estate prospecting engine.
Correct, yes. Yeah, you could think of it as like, it's not as pretty as CoStar, but it's everything that CoStar has, plus all of the grid analytics, plus all of the traffic data, plus all of the zoning data, plus all of the incentive overlays, where at least in California, which is where we've built the tool, we can tag up to 15 million individual commercial and industrial zoned parcels across the state, know how much power is at each location, the trucks in the area, the customers in the area, the vehicle miles traveled of those fleet vehicles, when and where. And that really, from a sort of prospecting perspective, makes it a much higher yielding exercise. Pretty cool. This tool identified for us initially our top 100 sites. We identified this a year ago, well before we were funded, and we own 3 of them already.
That's great.
Which is pretty cool.
You only got 97 to go.
Exactly.
Is one way to conceptualize it that the gas station business, as we've historically thought about it, on the consumer side and even on the fleet side, that's going away and being replaced by real estate that is also energy infrastructure. Is that the transition that's afoot?
I really think it is. I was at a conference last year, and there was a prominent real estate investor who said something that really resonated with me. Over the next 15 to 20 years, the things in real estate that are going to matter the most are power and water, which is historically, and obviously you know real estate way better than I do, but historically you sort of have your house power and you make sure the water works at whatever facility you're building, you have enough of it. But with the scarcity of both, water for obvious reasons, and then electricity, just because the grid is not yet equipped to handle the electrification of everything. Where real estate interacts with those 2 vital resources, I think you have an enormous opportunity to create true next generation real estate opportunity.
What do real estate owners not understand about the commercial charging business?
Most of it would be my answer. In my prior career, which was all on the energy infrastructure development side, some of the largest infrastructure investors on the planet look at real estate as a liability until you build the billion-dollar project on top of it. Real estate investors obviously view that very differently, but understanding how you make money under a charging as a service model with medium and heavy-duty fleet customers on an asset is new to them. They haven't had to think about energy services models as part of their tenancy, effectively. And I think that's where we are right now in the investor space, is you're seeing this push and pull between infrastructure-led investments in energy transition with real estate as a component, and then real estate-led investments with infrastructure as a component. I think of us very much right now as the latter.
So what has it been like working with our team at Fifthwall?
The ability of your team to truly understand our business model, and then to make not just the introductions, but the connections that turn into business opportunities with your investors is awesome.